Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. It is time for some more neurodivergent memes, because I love the neurodivergent memes. And I feel like this time I might actually have some sort of balance between autism and ADHD, which I usually don't. So anyways, before we get started, grab something to drink, grab some tea or some water, and then come back. You hydrated? Good, let's get started. Autistic people be like, I simply do not vibe with this fork. But it's true. I'm not even autistic, it's true. Because we have spoons at work, like little, teaspoons really. And some of them are different, and I do not vibe with those. I can't stir my coffee with those. It just doesn't work. Why is this? This is definitely a shitpost. My phone battery's fucked, says mate with ADHD who doesn't leave the freaking thing alone. Okay, but listen. What else are we supposed to do? You know? Because talking to people? Really? Come on. Who does that? We live on our phones. Okay? So, yeah, after 2 or 3 years, your battery's just gonna be fucked. Neurodivergent vibes. Getting annoyed with people for not knowing or understanding things that seem obvious to you, but also getting annoyed with people for expecting you to know or understand things that aren't obvious to you, and also engaging in self-reflection often enough to be aware of this hypocrisy. Okay, literally though, it is very frustrating. Because you know it doesn't make sense, because you know how frustrating it is. When people are like, everyone knows this, and you're just like, I don't. Why would I know this? This is such a random thing, why would I know it? But most people apparently do. And then something that just makes so much sense to you, and you try to explain it to someone else, and just like, hey, you know the thing when you... And they're just like, what? It's so frustrating. For many neurodivergent people, nighttime is a wild ride. You may fall asleep, or you may stay awake for hours feeling overstimulated whilst your brain plays the same song on loop, digs up past traumas, replays every social interaction from that day, plans the day ahead, and or comes up with epic ideas. You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's not much better during the day, but at least when other people talk to you or something, or if you're like at your job, you kind of have somewhat of an idea and like things to cling onto, so all those thoughts don't come. But nighttime, anything can happen. No, love, I'm not getting more autistic since diagnosis, I'm just hiding it less. Not actually a meme, but I still wanted to include it. Because, yeah. Because generally when things are just called weird, you do try to hide them, because otherwise you would just like constantly deal with negative like comments or something from people, and you don't want to deal with it, but then at some point you just kind of stop giving a shit and stop hiding those traits, like stimming, and then people just think you're getting more autistic, but you're not. Okay, I'ma fight this ADHD by searching coping strategies. Damn, so that's what caused the downfall of the Byzantine Empire. It can happen, you know, because you try to Google one thing, and then especially with ADHD strategies, there are so many pages that just like the same 5 tips of keep a calendar and set reminders, and it's like, yeah, I know, I need like more specific stuff, but then you either can't find it, or you just find too much at once and just get overwhelmed, and then suddenly you're a completely different, or like down a completely different rabbit hole because your thoughts just jump to something. I'm not going to Google what the Byzantine Empire is and what the downfall is now. I'm not going to do it. When people talk about how they can't drink caffeine like 6 or so hours before bed because they'd be so wired, I always thought it was so weird, because I could drink it up until the minute I went to sleep and have no issues, and I never felt wired, and then I learned I have ADHD. Well, I generally always feel wired whether I have caffeine or not. So I'm just gonna drink caffeine, because maybe it's just kind of a placebo effect, because I feel like caffeine helps me focus Like, I think I'm better able to focus my brain and kind of drown out distractions if I had coffee. But that might be placebo effect. But yeah, generally it doesn't help me be awake. So actually it might help me fall asleep, because if I can just focus on trying to become calm, it might help because my thoughts aren't racing quite so much. I'm not sure. I used to just become tired from coffee though. I'm autistic. Some snobby, middle-aged, anti-vax essential oil soccer mom with a "I want to speak to your manager" haircut. No, you're not. My sister's husband's mom's stepbrother-in-law's best friend's grandson has severe autism, and I know more about it than you do. Okay, I'm surprised that I managed to say that in one go, because that is really long. But didn't we have a TikTok in the last video that was about, oh, I work with autistic kids. Even those people don't know more about autism than someone with autism does. You know, come on. Autistic me at 7:59 a.m. waiting for a delivery that's due to arrive at any time between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. unable to focus on anything else. Same. Again, I'm not autistic, but the whole ADHD waiting mode thing, because even if you try to do something else, you really can't focus on it, or you just can't bring yourself to do anything else in the first place. And also, when I said I had a balance of ADHD and autism memes, I didn't know I had this many autism memes. But to be fair, I think a lot of these are just kind of relatable to both. ADHD is so funny because structure feels like prison, but if I have no structure, I descend into executive dysfunction and just do nothing for days. Yeah, literally, while I was between jobs, I had a harder time filming and editing my videos than I do now, working a full-time job and having less time, because I have some sort of structure. Because I go to work and I come home and I know I have like a few hours to do everything and like get household chores done. And it's somehow easier to do things now than it is when I had all the time in the world, really. It's so weird. When ADHD makes my words run together. We love word one. Really? Yes. I'm not even gonna cut this out. I hate word vomit and I can't even say it. But not being able to talk, very helpful when you're trying to film a YouTube video, you know? You're so weird. Thanks. Hey, stop taking that as a compliment. Too late. Yeah, but literally, it's not offensive to be called weird. And also, if you're just being called weird for being, like, authentic to yourselves, then who really cares? You know, who cares? Why don't you just do the thing? People without ADHD that don't understand that there is literally nothing I want more than to do the thing. I'm desperate to do the thing, but my brain simply won't fire the neurons required to move me into action. Exactly. We've been over this. From the outside, I know it just seems like someone's being lazy. But honestly, there's a big difference between being lazy and not wanting to do the thing, and just literally not being able to. But neurotypicals often have a hard time understanding the not being able to, because for them, they can do the thing. You know, if they choose to do the thing, they can just do the thing. And it's so weird, because what is that like, to always be able to do the thing you want to do? Because sometimes it works, sure, but so often it just doesn't. How does that work? How does it feel to be able to do that every day? When somebody says, you don't look autistic, and suddenly your autism is cured. Because that's how this works. God damn it. Look at me, I'm neurotypical. I give weird hints about things instead of just telling people. This might be one of the most frustrating things about neurotypicals, is the hinting at things and just expecting you to know, because everybody knows this. Like, please just say what you want. Or like, if you expect something of a person, just say what you expect of them. Or if you want them to do things a certain way, Maybe clarify that it should be done this certain way. Honestly. Because then they get mad if you do it wrong, or if you misunderstand them because they didn't actually say what they want. Then they get mad. And then it's your fault, even though they could have just, like, said a sentence more and things would have just been clear. You know, in the long run, it saves so much time to just be clear in the first place. What are you doing, neurotypicals? Come on. How it feels to experience sensory overload. This, but everything just kind of hurts. Everything just kind of hurts. I don't know if I just don't remember, because I think sometimes when I'm like in sensory overload, I actually get kind of dizzy. But not like so dizzy that I think I'm gonna faint, but everything does just kind of blur together like this. But everything hurts. I don't know, it's difficult to explain to someone who never experienced it, and I'm very bad at finding the words right now. You know, my social circles are so queer and neurodivergent that I forget that we're actually the minority, and then suddenly I'm in a room with a bunch of people sitting correctly, making regular eye contact and not interrupting each other. Like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Fair. Especially if you're like on vacation and you don't even go to work, where you have like cishet people who are neurotypical. And then you just like talk to like your circle and they're all queer and they're all neurodivergent somehow. Or at least for the huge part, diagnosed or not. You know who you are. Anyways, it's easy to forget, because especially online, if you only like follow queer people basically, yeah, too often. My body, when I'm trying to do something productive in the afternoon, I'm too weak. My body at night when I'm trying to sleep. Power, unlimited power. Again, why are you like this? Please? Why? Just why? My family watching movie. Me explaining where we've seen each actor before. Okay, but that's the trouble. I'm always like, because I have a very bad facial memory, like, I always just think people look familiar because my brain doesn't remember faces correctly. Because it doesn't even matter who. Like, even with like my parents or someone who I grew up with, if I don't see them for a few weeks and then I see them again, their face always looks different than I think it will. Very slightly. But then either way, when I'm watching a movie, I'm just like, okay, this actor seems familiar. I end up Googling so often. Because I always think someone looks familiar, and like 70 or 80% of the time, I scroll through all the movies they've ever done. I'm just like, okay, I haven't watched any of this. Why do they seem so familiar? Which is somehow way more frustrating. What's wrong? It's my internal monologue. It just won't stop interrupting itself. Yeah, this isn't everyone's. Because it's just, you have a thought, but then something else pops up because you just randomly think of it, or because you see something so random that just somehow sparks it. And then it's just all over the place. And it's so frustrating. Because if you're trying to like fall asleep or something, and you're trying to think of something pleasant, and you're trying to like spin a storyline, but then it just keeps getting interrupted by random things, and you can't do it, and then you can't fall asleep because... Why? Types of headaches: migraine, hypertension, stress. You don't look autistic. Yeah, is it just a headache, or is it like a whole body aching type situation? Because it kind of seems like it would be the latter. ADHD is binge reading ADHD life hacks, tips and tricks, deciding that, yes, they surely would improve your life a lot, and then not implementing any of them. Also, you forget all those tips the next day. Yep. Because the thing is it just me? Because if you try to build a habit of like, oh, you can build a habit in 30 days. Honestly, sometimes it works, and then I do it for a month on end. But then someday I just forget because I'm not at home, because I'm like, at my old job I was at trade fairs or something. And then I come back and I just don't do it at all anymore. Because as soon as it's interrupted, for even a day or two, or even sometimes just randomly, you just stop doing it because you forget one day, because it's not actually that habitual. I have to remind myself to brush my teeth every day. It's not habitual, like I don't automatically think of it. What's it like being neurotypical? It's astounding. Never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, or someone with ADHD when they will finally get around to doing the thing. Because in that case, they are suddenly more stressed about the thing and won't do it at all anymore. Don't do it. You know, my son just said, my ADHD is so severe it's 84K. It shouldn't be this funny, should it? I don't know, it's just too funny. Me, 99% of the time. You know, although I seem relaxed, I am actually incredibly tense at all times. Yeah, I think I've mastered the looking calm while just being completely wired and completely agitated too well. Too well. It is so hard to stop hiding that. People think I'm calm all the time. But I also kind of have like my resting face apparently looks kind of sad or upset because people get worried. Me, to my serotonin receptors. Why is no one having a good time? I specifically requested it. I love Hold. Honestly, as a person, like if I were to meet someone like him in real life, I think I would be so annoyed. I would be so annoyed by him. But as a character in a series, he's just so funny. But I have that with a lot of characters, because I know I get very annoyed at people in general. Anyways, the thing I could have done right away but didn't, and now it's a big freaking problem. Me. Listen. If you didn't do it because you were too lazy, that's kind of on you. But honestly, if you didn't do it because you couldn't, because of ADHD, it's fine. In that case, it's just so annoying because you know that if you were able to do it earlier, but you couldn't get your brain to do it, it's just so frustrating. Me, memes explaining ADHD symptoms, friends and family. Okay, but explaining through memes is sometimes the easiest, you know? Me, I love learning new things. Also me, when it's time to learn anything that I'm not instantly good at. Okay, listen. I just keep calling myself out with these memes. What am I doing? The ADHD iceberg. What people think ADHD is. Trouble focusing, fidgeting. What ADHD actually is. Having a fat ass, being a good kisser, thick thighs, being so sexy all the time, curvy as hell, being right about everything all the time. You know, when I first saw this post, I only read the top part. And I thought, this would be good to include, to be informational. I didn't read the bottom part until just now. So sorry, it's not going to be informational. I'm sorry, but it's funny. So I still need to keep it. So you heard it here first. Being thick and sexy and being a good kisser just kind of comes naturally if you have ADHD. I don't make the rules. You know, I'm curious, how many extroverted introverts found out they had ADHD or autism later in life? This tweet was brought to you by the late spiraling self-reflective thoughts. Legitimately no science here, y'all, just me connecting the dots in hindsight. I recognize now that what being called extroverted was me masking, and the introverted part was just me demasking myself in private, because I had learned that side of me was weird. Yeah. Because I used to think I'm introverted, just because I could be like very outgoing, very social, but I was also always so exhausted. Because I was just faking an entire personality, and I was always so exhausted when I got like home from school, or if I was like hanging out with people. So honestly, same. If you have autism or ADHD, let me know in the comments if this was also you. Again, I kind of like calling myself out apparently. Does anyone else eat their meal in order from their least favorite part to their favorite part, or do I have some rare form of OCD? And honestly, I think a lot of people do this. Because it makes sense. I don't get people who just like eat their meal in like random order. Of course you need to save the best part for last. Apparently, at the beginning of the meal, your taste buds are like more sensitive really, so it would kind of make sense to eat the best part first as well. So I'm not gonna come for that either, but I am coming for random order. That's just weird. My ADHD feels like, listen, now we have some informational stuff. Chronic fatigue, short bursts of existential dread, powerful urges to start arguments, hypersensitive to touch, smell, sound, taste, and visual stimuli, body pain if I'm in one position for more than 5 minutes, inexplicable bouts of restlessness. Okay, chronic fatigue, literally, yes. Like, I'm not even always tired or exhausted, but I yawn so much every day. I don't know. And honestly, I am tired quite a lot. Existential dread, yeah, but I also have like chronic depression, so I don't know if that's because of ADHD or because of that. Powerful urges to start arguments, not really for the sake of argument, but people talk a lot of shit, and it's very tempting to argue with that. Hypersensitive, yes, so much. Like smell, no, actually smell a lot, because I have this one person at work, like he doesn't smell bad. Like he always wears like perfume and it smells good, but it's always so intense that I really can't stand it that much. Body pain, I don't know, I move around too much to actually be in pain, but it's very uncomfortable to sit in one position for too long. And restlessness, so often, just constantly. Me to myself, you're going to stop Googling every question that pops into your head. My ADHD, the fuck you are. Yeah, because then if you don't Google the question, you just keep thinking about it and get distracted from everything you're trying to do. So you're just gonna Google it in the end anyway, so you might as well just Google it directly. You know, one of the things I really struggle with as an autistic person is needing to know the why something is the way it is, and struggling to just accept it or move on if I don't have a proper answer to that. Yeah, literally the whole, oh, it just is this way, or that's just normal. Like, what? Why though? Why do we do this thing this way? Why? That's why social rules often just don't make sense, because it's like, oh yeah, no, that's just considered normal. Like, yeah, but why? Anyways. Benefits of having a shitty memory, because I forget so many things. Impeccable keeper of secrets. I get to live in the moment, the complete separation of current me and any moment in the past. I can reread or rewatch something like it's the first time. Time goes by faster. It's easier to move on, out of sight, out of mind. Okay, keeper of secrets, yeah, because you can't really spill something you don't actually remember anymore. Moment, if we weren't overthinking, we could probably live in the moment very well, yes. Honestly, the whole rereading or rewatching something, because I always just know, okay, I love this show, or like if it's a TV show, I also like remember certain episodes, but I still kind of forget details so much. So yeah. Time goes by faster, really. I don't know, because my sense of time is so screwed. It's so screwed. I don't know. But it's easier to move on, definitely. I think that's why I never had my heart broken, because even if I was in love, which I'm not even sure I was before, it's like, if it's over, I just move on so quickly from anything. It's like, oh, okay. And just move on. Like, no matter what happens, really, it's kind of weird. ADHD. They can do things exceptionally well and inhumanely fast. Watch this. I can't do it on command. They can't do it on command. Okay, but literally, as soon as someone's watching or telling you to do something, you can't do it anymore. I feel like that's generally like a human struggle of like, we were talking about this at work today. We can't type when someone's like sitting next to us. Or, like right next to us. If it's like a desk next to you, sure, like whatever. But if someone's like sitting right next to you because you're showing them something or they're showing you something, you suddenly can't type anymore. It's so bad. Like today, they were commenting on the way I type, because I type with two fingers, but I still type very fast. But then as soon as we were talking about it, I suddenly couldn't type anymore. I can't do it on command, come on. When you have everyone's attention, but then you forget where your story was going. He looks so sad. Oh my god. You know, for me, being chill is getting to the airport 3 hours before takeoff so I can sit in a restaurant directly across from my gate and be anxious about missing my flight from there. Yeah, but it's still better than sitting at home being anxious about missing your flight there. Because then you know less things can go wrong. And somehow it makes me less anxious. I'm still anxious as frick if I have to wait somewhere else, but I know I can't be late. It's the same when you're trying to catch a train or something. You're more anxious while waiting at home than at the train station. It doesn't even matter what it's for, even if it's for appointments. I'm always early because I'm too anxious to do anything else. This morning, I had an appointment for my car. I got there early because I got there at 8. I needed to be there 15 after, but I was so anxious I couldn't even finish my breakfast. Anyways, stop ranting now. What is a random thing that gives you anxiety? Trying to put my change in my wallet at the cash register while people in line are pressuring me by just standing there. Honestly, I mean, I always pay with card anyways. I hate paying in cash, but literally this is one of the reasons I hate paying in cash, I think, because then you just always have change, and then it's like, you're trying to put that away, and you're still trying to put the groceries away, maybe, because they usually scan it, like, very fast, and then you're just standing there, trying to put everything away at once, and you're just so worried you're gonna drop something. So bad. I mean, I hate grocery shopping in general, but if I have to pay in cash, it's even worse. ADHD and ASD people taking things too literally. Yeah. Because, honestly, if you're too tired to put on a whole personality, and even then, you probably say things the way you mean them, and say them so literally, but then you forget that other people don't, so when they tell you to do something, like, I so often can't tell if someone's being sarcastic or not. It just doesn't work, because to me, it always, like, sounds the same. You know, because people say the wildest things, and sometimes they're serious about them, and sometimes they're not, and it's just so hard to tell, and then you take things too literally. But hey, if it helps you float, that's cool, I guess. Anyways, that was all the memes. I had a lot of autism memes, actually. It's actually surprising. I didn't realize I had this many. Like, I knew I had more than last time, where it was like 2 autism memes, which is why I added the TikToks last time, but impressive. Anyways, once again, I need to go to bed. I need something to drink, and I still need to brush my teeth. So anyways, I hope you had fun, and I will see you in 3 days.